Are women getting more power and more influence in the adult world?
Absolutely.
How so?
More and more every year. More and more women are stepping out from in front of the camera and going behind it, becoming producers, directors, being in charge of their own productions, their own production companies. Jenna Jameson has ClubJenna.com, her not only a website, but also making her own adult movies that are distributed through Vivid. She's inspired plenty of other women to do the same. Even veterans like Veronica Hart have stepped behind and decided to direct. So
they're doing a lot of merchandising too, with endorsing products and putting out products.
Absolutely. That more and more they're becoming in charge of their careers, and it's really dispelling that myth that the women in the industry do not have any say over what happens to them. They really do.
But what effect is that having in a practical sense? Is it really changing the direction of the industry?
I think to an extent it is. The thing is, the industry is, you can't change the entire thing overnight. There's still going to be your contingent of people who believe that the only place that women belong is in front of the camera. And that's fine. There's always a place for that kind of attitude, unfortunately. But I think the more and more that women are getting involved, and there are a contingent of people coming in from the outside who want to come in and do a good job and change the face of the industry, I think that is what helps make it more and more appealing to consumers.
Would the industry be better off if it did a better job of policing itself? For example, this is something Don and I have talked about on the show, of raising the age of actors and actresses from 18 to, say, 21.
I don't think that's a bad idea. I do know of directors and producers who, if they've met with the girl, they will say to her, you know, I don't think you're ready for this. I think you're too young. And if she persists and goes somewhere else, there's only so much they can do.
Even though she's legally of age to do it? Even
though she's legally of age.
Are they the exceptions to the rule? Those producers who do have a bit more caring?
On the whole, yes, I think so. I mean, the majority of the people believe that if an 18-year-old girl walks in the door and says, I want to do porn, hey, she's of age, okay, let her.
Right.
I will admit that there is not a lot of people in the industry who have the girl's best interests.
You have an interesting idea. You think that the industry should sponsor classes for the young women who get into the business.
Absolutely.
And what kind of classes?
That's a great idea.
Yeah, what would you have at those classes?
Well, a lot of these girls, granted, they don't necessarily get into the industry thinking, I'm going to be a superstar and I'm getting into porn because I want to make my living having sex on camera. But for those that do wind up doing it, I think they really need to understand what they're getting into, what kind of impact it will have on their life, how society will view them, how they can navigate through those stormy waters and not get wrapped up in drugs and alcohol and anything like that, and also understand who they should and shouldn't work for, what they should and should not expect, all that sort of thing.
Interesting thought, Carly. Log on to Carly's website at pornblography.com. Back with a look at tomorrow's show after this. You're watching Naked New York on Metro TV.